Hello guys, in this opportunity we're gonna talk about the contemporary period. This era starts from 1839 to the present. It's an important time period in terms of literature because many new authors came about, and with this authors a new popularity of literature.
We might recognize within contemporary literature some characteristics like reflects the current political, social, and broader personal issues of the time. Very realistic characters. Writing styles that are easy to read. The desire to experiment with new genres. And one of the most representative authors of this era is Stephen King.
Stephen Edwin King was born on September 21, 1947 in Portland, Maine. His parents were Nellie Ruth Pillsbury and Donald Edwin King. Stephen King is an American author of suspense, horror, and fantasy books. He was interested in horror books and stories from an early age. He has numerous short stories and novels published and movies made from his work. He has been called the master of horror. His books have been translated into 33 different languages, published in over 35 different countries, and there are over 300 million copies of his novels in publication.
Is horror all you write? Is one of the most frequent questions Stephen King encounters. Although he is by now a world-class grandmaster of the horrific, he resists intimidating genre. That he can transit horror is proven triumphantly in these four works. We are talking about the four stories that we can find in his book Different Seasons, released in August 1892, published by Viking Press. And today we are going to talk specifically about one of them, The Body.
Characters. Gordy Legends, he's intelligent, so he has the chance to go to college courses. He comes from a standard family. He's considered smart and mature. Chris Chambers, his father is drunk most of the time. He has two older brothers. He is friendly, smart, and thinks before he acts. Teddy the Champ, he's considered the stupidest boy in the gang. He used to take racist chances. Bernd Tenhue, he is all called Pennywood. To his history of pennies, he has an older brother called Billy. He's not very intelligent. He doesn't come from a rich family. His father works in a factory.
The novel is narrated from Gordy's perspective, the principal character of the novel. Gordy is the protagonist, and he tells the story from his own point of view.
The story begins in the summer of 1960 in a city called Castle Rock in Maine. A boy named Ray Bauer had missed and given by dead. He's looked for many days, so Gordy and his three friends dreamed to being awarded by finding the dead body. They decided to look for the body.
Bernie is playing in his house, then he listened to his brother and his friend Charlie talking about the body. Once he heard about the body, he ran to the tree house to tell his friends.
In the tree house, Gordy, Chris, and Teddy are smoking, joking, and playing cards. Bern arrives exhausted and anxious of telling what he heard from his brother. Gordy, Teddy, and Chris at first don't take any care of Bern. After he starts to talk about Brower, who has the missing boy. We notice that Teddy doesn't show to be afraid to see a dead body in contrast to he shows enthusiasm to look for it.
While we are reading, we find the story easy to understand. It is simple modern address to the teenage public. So, the use of slangs are implied in order to show some expressions spoken by teenagers gaps on those times.
Then we find the boys preparing their supplies, and Chris suddenly shows a gun to Gordy. He has taken it from his father.
The story follows the boys working together until they realize that they do not carry any food, so they decide to gather the money each of them have and also decide to go to the store to buy the food.
They are walking quietly Then they listen to the train coming quickly, and Teddy wants to be hit with the train. All the boys are screaming because Teddy is still on the train rails tracks and he refuses to get off from there. As a result, Gordy jumps on the train tracks and rescues Teddy against his will.
After the train incident, they decide to follow his trip, forgetting what they have already experienced, and they make a stop in the dam, get some rest, and choose who is the one in charge of going to the store.
Before Gordy comes back, the rest of the group are running away and jumping the fence because of Milo and his dog, Chopper. Gordy also tries hard to run away because he is very afraid of Chopper.
Once the four boys are on the other side of the fence, Milo tries to tell the boys' parents about them in the dump. What happened in that moment is one of the rudest parts of the story. Milo says to Teddy that his father is an ill man who is in the mental hospital, and here we find Chris supporting Teddy.
Talking about values that reflect our scene of right and wrong, they help us grow and develop, they help us create the future we want. For example, friendship and loyalty are the states of enduring affection, esteem, intimacy, and trust between two people and binds us to a person. I never had any friends later like these ones I had when I was 12. That's what Gordy wrote in his book. The short story reinforces the value of friendship as we can read the short novel.
The boys follow their trip. They really want to find the body, in spite of the fear that any of them could feel inside. When they decided not to follow the road that runs the river, but the one which is the most dangerous, we can see Vern, who is very scared, and Gordy supports him at that moment. We see Chris and Gordy doing these kinds of actions, which are the common ones of these characters.
At night, the boys realize that they should camp, and everyone should also safeguard the camping while the others are sleeping. Principally, they are afraid of the animals because they are far from their home and completely alone into the forest.
Chris is keeping watch when he realizes that Gordy is having a nightmare. Gordy shares his deep feelings with Chris, and Chris does the same. They seem to support each other at all times and understand each other.
In the book, we can identify different rhetorical figures like personification, onomatopoeia, and metaphor. And as an example of this last one, we have the wild cry rose into the night again, cutting the air like a knife and freezing us with our hands on Teddy. The Body, chapter 15, page 42.
Finally, the body was found, but the other group appeared, headed by Ace, to claim the body and report it, because Billy and Charlie couldn't keep the secret while they were listening to the news on the radio. This gang also wants to take the body and report it, but Chris's gang will not allow it. So they are about to have a fight till a bullet in the air changed the scene. None of them took the body. It was an anonymous call that reported.